I don't know what is moving or happening in your life, but this is just a little reminder that there's so much more than just your small self here living this life of yours. There's a lot that can support us. Just remember to open to it and call upon it for help. I had prayed, and the thing is, I had forgotten at that moment when I was so low that there's more than just me here. There's God too. And I don't need to know how to do it. It can be done anyway. I don't have all the answers. I don't know why things happen the way they happen, but I do feel like believing in something and asking for help from the divine, believing in the potential of that can bring miracles. I'm just gonna tell like the bigger story with then the story of being saved, having the solution to my problem coming from some homeless people. It was a blessing. It was a really, I don't know if I've still fully processed the whole occurrence yet. But for me, this story embodies the lesson of trusting God, of calling upon God for help and assistance when needed, and how at a low point we can be served by something we might even fear, someone we might even fear. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if I've fully processed the whole thing yet or have the true takeaways all figured out, but I do know what happened, and I do know that I feel so held and supported by the way everything unfolded. So to take you all the way back to last winter, when I was in my place of deep heartbreak and loss of a relationship that I thought was going to be my forever person. So I'm in this place of deep loss, and I see that this music festival that people had told me about in the past, saying, oh my gosh, you would love this place, you would love Playthink, you should go. I saw that they had an open call for artists. So I thought, hey, that would be a really cool family vacation for the kids and I. It's a sober, family-friendly music festival for me to take my kids on. So I applied, and I thought, okay, if I get accepted, we'll go, as long as I can manifest by then a minivan. You see, I had a minivan, and I loved that minivan, and then the engine went out on it. Even though it didn't have very many miles at all for the age, it became way too expensive of a fix to make sense for that old, wonderful van. It had horses on it, you guys, which were my spirit animal. I bought it right after my divorce. Horses represent freedom, and yeah, they are my spirit animal, and so it was so fun to find a van with horses, and I was kind of attached to it, so it was a bummer when it went away. But we survived. I was all right. I ended up with a little Corolla and have been driving that around. But that was not going to work for a big road trip from Wisconsin to Kentucky with kids and art and camping stuff. So that just wasn't going to fly. So I thought, okay, if I get in, we'll try and get a van and go. A van was on my list anyways for eventually. So I did get in. I got accepted to be one of the live painters, and then the next part was the van. And I was looking on Marketplace, and I was trying to decide, like, do I get a loan? I wouldn't buy a new van, but do I get a loan and risk, something happening to a van while having a monthly payment and higher insurance and all of that. It's so nice to drive without a car payment. I just love that. So what do I do? And I'm looking on Marketplace. I'm thinking about what kind of van I want. And should I do this? Does this make sense? And so I did what I've been doing kind of across the board lately. I prayed on it and I gave it to God. And in the giving it to God, there was it was like the next day or two, I was driving up to meet some new women with a dear friend that I already know. We were having like a women's weekend, beautiful. Oh, it was such a stunning time. But as I was driving up, I was thinking about the van situation, and I was thinking, all right, so does it really need to be a town and country? Because that's the kind I wanted, because it's got these stow and go seats, and it's just like, I loved my van with the horses, which was a town and country. And I was like, does it really need to be that, or can I let go of that part? And I thought, no, I can't let it go. I really want it to be a town and country. And as we're sitting and chatting over the course of this weekend, one of the women asked me about my plans, for the summer, and I'm saying, okay, well, we might take this big camping trip with me painting and stuff, but it's all reliant on me getting a minivan. And she's like, really? That's so interesting. My husband and I have been considering selling our minivan since the fall, but we haven't taken any action on it at all. And I'm like, really? What kind of minivan is it? And she said it's a town and country. And I'm like, okay. And then I asked her what color it was, because I'm a type of car person who's not at all a car person, and really the color is one of the top things for me. So, and I had decided, I didn't want it to be like certain colors. I wanted it to be more fun. And green was one of my top ones. Obviously, my top one, I shouldn't say obviously, you don't know this. My top one would be purple, but I have yet to even see a purple minivan. So, yeah, she said it was green. I'm like, okay, cool. And, we just rolled with it. I ended up purchasing the minivan and getting a commission for a painting out of it as well. I did have to put some work into the minivan before our trip, but we were set to go, and we did. And our trip had all kinds of highs and lows in it. Some of the lows were getting rained on so much. My tent collapsed at one point while we were up at the art building where all my art was being displayed, and we had this wonderful solid roof over our head and walls around us during the storms. But yeah, so my tent got water all over it, like on top of the puddle from the tent was right on top of my air mattress and my pillow. And yeah, so there was some wet stuff in there. So I ended up sleeping in that minivan for the last 2 or 3 nights of the music festival. We had brought along a spare cot, and so I just slept in there because my tent never dried out, nor did the stuff. But yeah, so after we leave Playthink, which was so fun, it was amazing, even with all the rain, all the wetness, all the mud. There was so much mud. We really had a great time. The kids had a fabulous time. I had a fabulous time. Lots of dancing, painting. I painted this monkey here. Underneath it says Playthink. This is called Let Yourself Play. And yeah, it's just a happy, playful monkey reminding us of the magic of playfulness, of being light, of being, able to just move and swing around and have fun in this life. So After Playthink, which we got our whole van packed up right before a just complete downpour came. And when that came, I had trash I needed to get to the dumpster. Our van was so full between all of the camping stuff and all of the showing my art stuff and then all of the live painting stuff. It was the most complicated packing for camping I have ever done. I rolled with the punches really well for the most part. All of the rain, all of the mud, all of the stressful situations, I'm super proud of myself for how I was handling them at Playthink there. Yeah, super proud. And a note, if you're a camper, one thing that helped me hugely once I became a camper was the distinction between clean and camping clean. Camping clean is its own whole category, and if you separate it from normal clean, normal like everyday life clean, there's some peace that comes in when you're navigating, you know, life camping, especially with children. So anyway, when we're leaving, it just downpours like crazy. Yeah, it's soaking wet, and everything was good. We move on and we go to Nashville and we set up our campsite at Nashville. And in Nashville, on the second night, we decide we're gonna go into town and check out the city, the nightlife, walk on this cool bridge, see the sights, that kind of stuff. And as we are driving, the engine starts to overheat. And I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, so this is what happened, which killed my other van. Like the engine overheated, something, I don't even know, something happened and it was not good. So I go into like a, oh my God, oh no, right? And get off the freeway as soon as possible, pull into the first spot I can, and I'm kind of freaking out, okay? And we open the hood. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? At this point right here was the lowest point of our trip and the lowest point of stuff for a while. I felt so stupid. And I said it out loud multiple times to the point where my kids, my oldest and my middle boy, were like, stop it, Mom. Stop calling yourself stupid. You're not stupid. Because I kept saying, I'm so stupid. And I thought, what was I thinking? Thinking I could do this. Thinking I could take this used van with all of these miles, you know, and do this. I don't know anything about cars. Why did I think this would work? Here, I'm gonna have us stranded in Nashville with all of our camp stuff at the campsite and all of our food in the van here, and it was 7 o'clock at night. So all of the places that could help us were closed, and it was only a matter of getting it towed and then us being stuck. And not knowing how it was all gonna work out, knowing that we needed to leave the campsite the next morning, we needed to pack up and move on. Knowing all of that, I was just like, oh, what are we gonna do? Kind of freaking out. And I prayed. And a car pulled in. And honestly, I got more scared. The car looked really sketchy. It had 4 people in it who all looked sketchy too. And I realized that the church we had pulled into, when I looked closer, as I was freaking out before the car came, I thought, oh, I think this place is actually abandoned. It had wood over some of the windows and stuff. And then there was this big carport off to the side, further back, with tarps and stuff, and it just seemed strange. And when those people pulled in, they weren't friendly at all. They didn't come across as friendly at all. They just motioned for me to open this gate so they could get through because I was blocking the opening to get around this gate that was there. So we did. We opened the gate and they went over by that carport. And they were over there for a while, and I'm, like still trying to figure out what to do, talking to somebody who could maybe tow the car, but not knowing how that's gonna work, like with us and our stuff and everything. So I pray just a few little prayers over the course of this time there. And that car comes back out, and now there's just one man in it, the man who was driving it, and he looks rough. And he asked my son, my oldest, like, what's up or whatever, and my oldest said, our car overheated. And he gets out of the car and he said, I might have something. He opens up his trunk, which was filled with shoes. I don't even know. I still don't know. That's a mystery to me. There were so many shoes in there. But I was still kind of scared, but he was like, I might have something. And he pulled out like the oldest looking jug I've seen of coolant. And he's like, this might be what you need. He said it was his dad's car. The guy was probably about my age. Missing teeth, really rough looking. He said it was his dad's car and his dad wouldn't even miss it. Hopefully his dad doesn't miss it. Hopefully he told him that he gave it to us. But he said it was already mixed, half water, half coolant, and that might be just what we needed. And he said, do you want it? And I was like, yeah, thank you. And I still, honestly, I don't know anything about cars. So I was like, okay, but now what do we do with it, But he drove away. And then another man came over. He introduced himself as Trouble. He said his name was Trouble. He told us his real name, but said that no one would know him by that. Everyone knows him as Trouble. I would say he was in his mid-50s, and he was homeless, and he said as much. And he knew what to do. So he guided us. We waited a while in order to safely open the spot where we were going to put the coolant. And he told us what to do, and he hung out with us. And while he was standing there telling us some of his life story, at one moment I told him, I was still scared, you guys, actually. I was still scared. I didn't know how it was going to go. I knew there were a bunch of people. I knew we had all of our stuff. The guy's name is Trouble. He was asking if my kids were good fighters, like if they beat people up and stuff. And my kids have never fought anyone, as far as I know, besides maybe each other a tiny bit, and not for real. So I was kind of afraid, like, is he trying to figure out, like, if he could take them? I didn't know. I was still in a place of fear. But there was this one moment, and I'll never forget it, where I said to him how I really don't know anything about cars. I don't know what to do, and a tear went down my face. And he said, don't worry, Mama, I got you. And he took his beautifully dirty hand and he wiped the tear off of my cheek and looked me in the eyes there. And it was so sweet. It was just precious. And he did have us. He asked if we wanted food, if we were hungry, if we needed food. He said he had someone he could call and that they could bring us some food. And I said, no, we have all kinds of food in the van here. Do you want food? And he's like, no, I'm good, I'm fine. So he helped us with the coolant and told us what to do. And that honestly was all that van needed. It worked. We went to a gas station after that, bought a bunch more coolant, ended up having to fill it up the rest of the trip until we got back. There was a little leak in something. My neighbor fixed it for me, another godsend. So he said, I'm here if you need me. I'm here. just, come looking for me. And I got you. I got your back. It was so sweet. And here I was in this place where I had lost faith. And I thought, why did I think I could do this? Why did I think I can do this? I was so stupid to take us this far from home on my own with this van, 230 some thousand miles. Like, why did I think I could do this? I had lost faith, but I had prayed, and the thing is, I had forgotten at that moment when I was so low that there's more than just me here. There's God too. And I don't need to know how to do it. It can be done anyway. Here, had those people not come, I don't know what we would have done. It would have been a lot more complicated and stressful of finding a solution. But when I thought, the sun just shifted a lot, when I thought I had picked the worst place to pull over, I actually had picked the best place to pull over. A place where some homeless people came to the rescue and had exactly what I needed and the knowledge on how to use it. Two things I did not have. And they were right there. And it all worked out. And we were safe and sound. And now I have this memory, this experience, this reminder that I'm not here alone. It's me, myself, and God. God is here in all of it. And God can provide and can save the day. It's just a reminder to me that there's more going on here than meets the eye, and a remembering to pray and to trust that, maybe I don't know how to do it, but God does. The universe, life, and everything does, and there's some beautiful something or other. I don't have all the answers. I don't know why things happen the way they happen, but I do feel like believing in something and asking for help from the divine, believing in the potential of that can bring miracles. So that is my little miracle from our trip. There was another relatively bummer thing that happened with the trip where I got a tick in me. But I found it and we kept it. And I asked my friend who knows all kinds of stuff about Lyme's disease and all of that because he's battled it. I asked him what to do, and he recommended I send that tick away and pay the money to get it tested, and I did, and thank God I did, because I got the results back. While it didn't have Lyme's, it had spotted Rocky Mountain fever, which is a super not good thing, and it had some other thing as well. So I am in the phase of rebuilding my gut because for the first time in ages, I did take antibiotics. And I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for all of the ways that life can support me, can support us. So we got back from that trip. I made some financial investment for us to be able to go. And since we got back, I have had my most successful month so far financially. I worked hard and I did make enough money that what I put on my credit card is I'm now able to pay off again. So there's a lot of blessings. And yeah. That's what I wanted to share today. I don't know what is moving or happening in your life, but this is just a little reminder that there's so much more than just your small self here. living this life of yours. There's a lot that can support us. Just remember to open to it and call upon it for help. Sending my love from my heart to yours. Be well.